Okay, guys. Oh my gosh. I am just getting an ear and eye full of this channel, this mysterious Middle East channel. I had found them actually, I think last year, but then recently one of my subscribers also recommended this channel, but I had actually saved some of the videos that this channel puts out because they're very informative, and it starts going into this whole notion that the Middle East is where a lot of this black magic has evolved from. And oh, it's blowing my mind because it's making so many connections of what I was on the trail of as far as occult knowledge and awareness and following the different paths that are out here of where all of this began. When it appears that truly the Middle East is, in fact, the area where all this darkness has evolved from because of the black magic, where they're summoning the jinn to obtain different information, secrets, unveiling of knowledge. It's been hidden stuff that's been hidden after the great flood of Atlantis, that these people had all of this knowledge during Atlantis. And since it was the height of consciousness, there was a faction who then devolved and decided to split off from the higher, wiser wizards of the world, and then just go on their own path of darkness, where they wanted to seek this enlightenment based on summoning the principles of black magic, all the jinn who know everything. The spirit realm is where you can traverse and absolutely know anything. And that exists just outside of what we call our reality. But this is just an experiential reality where we actually traverse back into the spirit realm and then go through channels up to higher spaces. But it's all very hard to follow. But this information, getting back to this is vital for our comprehension of what has happened to our world and where we are now. I believe this is foundational knowledge, and I do just want to recommend this channel to people. This video in particular is also very good, and I just tell you, like, every video they put out just adds more foundation of where all the evil in the world comes from. And that's really what I've been trying to get at, is where does all this begin? We know we had the golden age. We know we do, because it was the golden mean of civilization during the age of Gemini, and then subsequently going into Taurus and Aries as we came around the great wheel of time. And in Taurus is when the division started, the separation of darkness and light. They started dividing again, because apparently that's what happens throughout time, is everything comes back into one and becomes harmonic, and it's more balanced and even, and then all of a sudden, subsequently it morphs away and they disconnect. It's almost like the ebbing and flowing of the waters and the tides in the oceans. There's always this ebb and flow of consciousness, and that goes around in cycles. And it's like sine waves that go up and down. They rise and they fall. So that's why you always hear about the rising and falling of empires, ideologies. Everything is constantly in a state of flux. Change is inevitable. But what happens to humans is we get locked in these cycles of time where we get comfortable, and that comfort subsequently will become a discomfort once change begins. And that's where we are right now. We're in a cycle of time where it's now time to move forward and to push us forward. This change that is inevitable in the frequencies of all things begins to, push us in these directions that we don't comprehend, because we haven't been on this spiritual path. We've been on a material path by design, from all of these people who were summoning jinn, who were creating money, and they created the whole construct to be a control system, because the jinn know all of the history of the world. And because humans live for short amount of times, they can summon these jinn and say, okay, well, what should I do during this timeline? And the jinn will absolutely tell them, but you have to give the jinn something for their information. Usually there's a sacrifice, or, there's some object that the jinn wants, or maybe they want some of your blood or some sort of ritual. I don't know. I don't know all that, but I do know that all of these things apply. So I'm going to leave this little video link in the description box, and please, by all means, go and listen to this channel. It will fill your world with all kinds of information based on where we have been and now where we're going. Because as soon as we have the eyes to see what's happened, then we can grab that greater perspective, and the collective conscience can come back and say, okay, now that we know what happened, let's come together to see where we're going, because we are the power that has been subverted for the use of someone else. But now that we're coming into our own awareness of our own power, once we divert our gaze from their perspective of what they want us to do, that is when we gain control of the world again. But subsequently, they have planted their seed of darkness in the technology. And this technology is going to be our demise at the end of the Age of Aquarius. It's actually going to be the war, the next war. And I don't really consider it war anymore. I feel like it's more like a final exam, because we're in this great school that's teaching us lessons every day. And so for each age, there's going to be challenges that, we will have to face for our evolution or devolution. It's just all coming and going is what it is. As consciousness is constantly in waves of energy all around us. And we've just been, sort of blind to it, traversing through the Age of Pisces and all this, down at the 2 feet or the 2 fish of Pisces. So I can kind of get a grasp on the why. But coming into the how is what was left out of our collective conscience. Like, how did this all happen? How is it that we didn't see? Well, for number one, we don't live long enough. And because they subsequently kick people out of the game by, sacrificing or, doing this thing that they call suicided. That kind of stuff. So that's what's been going on throughout history, throughout the dawn of time. Then they subsequently just erase all the history. They couldn't erase everything because there's just too much. Because the things that are made in stone, that's a lot harder to get rid of. They tried by melting them and stuff, but and burying them, and they've actually built the cities on top of all of the infrastructure. And I've seen more and more evidence, even in my own town, where they actually have pushed aside these ancient boulders and things that, they're obviously very old, and they've paved over everything so that we wouldn't find the truth. But now that we're going into this Age of Aquarius, they're starting to unveil things because of all the construction, repurposing and rebuilding. When they really start excavating, that's when they really find things. But my eyes just saw the other day some old stones by the roadside, and a series of them. And I recognize them because they're up in North Georgia, and, they look very, very old. Everything in this world is biology. And you will know that if you go out into the forest and you see how the leaves deteriorate and the trees deteriorate and they all become earth, and we even become earth, and all the plants die off. Everything's biology, everything, even the stones. So when we restructure our own vision, we will gain the eyes to see and become more aware that everything's a living thing, even the stuff that we create. When we think that it's inanimate and it's not, living, and it doesn't have consciousness, it's actually a falsehood, because we created it. So we put our consciousness into it. And once we do that, it becomes a living thing. And remember that all things come from one substance. There's only one substance in this existence. And that substance is the sound and light frequency. And that sound and light frequency subsequently, splits itself into two substances, but it's still one substance. You have light. When you have light, you instantly have shadow. You cannot have one without the other. And then from that is where all the other substances come from. It splits into the four elements, and the four elements then become more elements and more elements and more elements. And that's all we're doing right now as we go around the Great Wheel. If you look around you at all the junk that we've created, it's all one substance, but it looks like many different substances. That's the confusing part. But it's actually very simple. And the basis of our reality is we need to focus more on the natural world. If you want Saturn and all of the elements that Saturn represents to dominate your world, then by all means, look to all of the artificial intelligence and the technology and all that, because that is Saturn's realm. Saturn is the dark realm, underrealm is the hidden realm. It's going to always challenge you. Saturn is always the challenger. He's the father who challenges everyone. But when you turn towards the simplicity of life and the abundance and joy of what simplicity can bring, that's the difference between moving forward with what society is embracing right now or going backwards in time to where we had more of an agrarian society where we exchanged our goods based on the things that we created from the earth. We co-create with the earth. We plant the seeds and then we tend to the plants and we love them. That's the loving aspect of our world that's missing right now. And not enough people see that. And so the world is sick. And until we can don the eyes to see that the only way to stop the sickness and the madness is to return to the earth, that's a long road coming for most people because they enjoy all of this crazy creation, this noise, this chaos, this busyness, it's materialism. And it's not, wrong or right, but still it's destroying the earth that we've turned our backs on her. And we have not nurtured her or been very kind to her. So I just wanted to put out this video, and just remind everybody just to choose your path. It's not right or wrong, but it's just where are we? Are we going to live in a synthetic world where artificial intelligence dominates it? Or are we going to get back to basics and say, you know what? No, I really want to nurture the earth. I want to plant trees. I want to help farmers grow food. I want, this kind of idea. And it's not for everyone, but it's a very healthy path. And especially the fact that nurturing the earth means that you get out and physically use your energy, your connectivity, your love, your intentions to the vital life forms that are out here waiting for us to reconnect with them. That's the difference. And then when you connect to a machine, where are you giving your energy? Just think about that. If all things are energy, where are you putting that energy? You're putting it into an artificial intelligence. You're putting it into a virtual reality. These are the consequences of our actions that we have to face. And we've never really stopped to just think about it. But yeah, hopefully that gives you guys a little insight, just to kind of think about your own life and where you want to go. What is it that you actually want to do ultimately in this existence? Because it's not about money. It's about connectivity. Or maybe for you, it is about money. For me, it's not. I don't go out here and strive to make money every day. I strive to figure out, what I can do as a resolution for the rest of my life to try to help the world. And unfortunately, I do have to try to make money somehow just to maintain where I am in society. I often think about if I sold everything and just lived in a car or, lived on the road. I don't know. Sometimes I think about that, and it's kind of inviting to my mind. and to my processes. But right now I am where I am, and I'm comfortable, I'm safe, but at the same time, I'm like, am I comfortable? Because I think so much more. I want to travel, but I won't travel right now. Um, there's so many things. Like I long to see the world, but I don't think the world is a good place to go out to because of the control and everything that's going on. But I do believe it will be wiped away. I do, because the light is shining too much right now on all of the truth and things that are happening. And I think it's just going to be a matter of time before it's all out in the open and all of the darkness has to hide for a while until the end of the Age of Aquarius. I guess it's about 1,000 years that it will be hiding, and then it eventually start emerging again to rear its ugly head now that it's planted all these seeds of artificial intelligence. So that's all I have for you right now. I had to share this video because it talks about the jinn and how the jinn have been used, and we've heard about the red dragon before, the dragon family over in China. I believe that there are factions in each main family of good and dark, light and dark, I should say. And we've heard about the red dragon family and the golden dragon family and, all these things. I believe that they are real and that they exist. And all this information is knowledge and foundational knowledge for those who keep the world in balance. I strive to comprehend more of this kind of stuff because it's hidden and it's fascinating to me. So anyway, I'm going to leave this link in the description box. I do recommend that you watch the videos on this particular channel because it's very informative. And I will see you guys on the next one.